Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, sitting down to talk about Le Steam Deck. Ladies and gentlemen, this one I am really excited about because as we've gone through this last year, we've done constant revisions and updates on the conversation with the Steam Deck. There were my first impressions, then 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, and here we are 1 year later with my thoughts on the Steam Deck. Now, I also want to address some fair criticism in my 9 months later video. I spent a lot of that video talking about the Steam Deck versus the Logitech G Cloud gaming handheld because around that time I've been playing with it for roughly a month or so, and I wanted to just share some thoughts on it and compare and contrast. But a lot of folks are like, yo, Matty, you got to talk more about the Steam Deck in your Steam Deck video. So we're going to right that wrong today. Is the Steam Deck worth it 1 year later? What do I like about it? What do I dislike about it? Are there any things that I wish were done better? How good of a job has Valve done? I hope to answer all of those questions in today's revision. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. At the top of the list, for me, the thing I want to call out most that I really didn't expect when I first got my Steam Deck that I've been very pleasant with is the support for modern games. Things like Cyberpunk 2077 being verified on Steam Deck was such a pleasant surprise, but for me, I really have been enjoying playing a little bit of Marvel Midnight Suns on my Steam Deck, messing around with that. To me, a game that came out in just December that's running perfectly fine on this Steam Deck was just a pleasant surprise because originally this was my indie machine, really. I'd play things like Rogue Legacy 2 here on my Steam Deck, but I wouldn't go too crazy because suddenly you hear the fans going, the heat picks up a little bit, and I get worried. I'm like, this to me is still such a precious, rare commodity that you got to pay a premium for at times on eBay that I get a little worried when it's running hot, so I try to be generous with it. But to me, it was the game system that also would reactivate old classics. Like, yeah, I've played Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion and Fallout 3 1,000,001 times, but I haven't played them in handheld yet. So it's that type of energy I was expecting from the Steam Deck, but as its lifespan went on, I was going back to games maybe I reviewed like Evil West, and of course, like I just mentioned, Marvel Midnight Suns, firing them up here on the Steam Deck and actually watching them run pretty well. And especially when you think about Steam's cloud saving, it made it where it was really nice to pick up a playthrough midway through on my Steam Deck, throw a couple of hours in, and then go back to my PC. I've talked about this a lot, so I'll keep it short so it's not too redundant, but I work a lot at my computer. And if you do work a lot at computers and you want to get away from the computer but still get PC gaming buffs, then this is the system for you. Truly, that has been the biggest boon for me. Yeah, I got a great gaming rig. I got a 3080 in my PC, but I don't want to always game in my PC. I'm always in this office chair constantly. Having this in bed is fantastic. I cannot recommend that aspect enough. So the modern game support has been great and kind of speaks for itself. But I do want to cover, if you will, a negative for me personally. And it's less of a Steam Deck L and more of an Xbox L. But this is why I spent so much time in my 9 months later Steam Deck review talking about the Logitech G Cloud gaming handheld, a system that I really do enjoy because the Game Pass support on Steam Deck just isn't good. And when I was going back and forth between the Steam Deck and the Logitech G Cloud gaming handheld, but you could really feel that difference when you have an app like Xbox Cloud Gaming that's made specifically tailored to the device like it was with Logitech G Cloud gaming handheld versus the Steam Deck where you have to go through the back end, activate an app in your Steam library called Microsoft Edge, and every time you click on it, you got to sign in and you're technically playing through the browser. Does it work? Yes. But in comparison, both here in my office internet, which is Fios, and at home, which is more of your standard Optimum internet, it's been a night and day experience on both devices. Whereas the Logitech G Cloud gave me really great results on both internet types, which is kind of surprising for my home internet. When it came to the Steam Deck, it was just spotty. Sometimes the screen was pixelated. I actually did a full playthrough of Yakuza Like a Dragon on my Steam Deck, mostly through xCloud. And while that was really cool, it was really frustrating seeing it constantly pixelating and lagging at times. Whereas when I hop onto that game with Logitech G Cloud, it was totally fine. So that is a difference maker, and you're not going to get the most out of Xbox Cloud Gaming and Game Pass with it. I know a lot of people love Steam Deck because it is a native handheld gaming device, and that's a big reason why I support it. But when it comes to Xbox and where they're heading with their future, I would hope for native support 1 year later. It felt like when we first started talking about the Steam Deck at the beginning of 2022, that this was a realistic possibility. The fact that it's not here and instead Xbox is exploring bringing like Windows to Steam Deck seems to me like a mismatch in priorities, and so I do find that a little frustrating. Again, Game Pass has a lot of great options. I feel it inherently builds value to the Steam Deck, and I do wish Xbox was more on top of that, so I do hope they have a fix for it. Again, is it Valve's fault? No, they seem very open and have even in fact invited Xbox to bring that native support there. It's about Xbox doing the heavy lifting, and I think the Steam Deck base is there enough where they absolutely should, especially if their mantra is, we want to bring Game Pass to all screens. This is a very important games-oriented screen to bring it to. I'd even say, to some extent, for the gamer optics, above the Logitech G Cloud, even if it's better over there. The other thing I wanted to highlight here with the Steam Deck, though, going back to more of our native focus, is not only the accessory support that I talked about around our 6 months later video, but also how it's given a new life to Steam sales. There was a stretch of time for me where Steam sales were so exciting. Typically when you get that first PC, you're like, yo, it's the Steam sale. I gotta hop in there. I gotta see what's popping, pick up like 18 games. And eventually, as you near the age of 30, you realize, I got time for these games, but I gotta be pretty selectful of them. I gotta be smart with this, and I can't just buy everything, or else it'll rest in gaming purgatory for all of eternity. So we need to release some of these. But with the Steam Deck now having accessibility to that library with ease and motivating me more to engage with that content, not just because of the shiny new console, we're a year removed from it, but really because of the fact that, yes, I can play on the go. And so that is a good incentive for me to pick up some games on Steam sale because I know they'll actually get done. I try to avoid that impulsive pickup behavior now because there's so many good games and it's really easy to get wrapped up in it. But there's no doubt that when you get the Steam Deck, if you don't own one yet, you're going to have that reinvigoration of the Steam sales, and I think you'll actually have the chance of banging through a lot of the games you pick up because of the way that the Steam Deck functions, where it is a handheld gaming device. But I also mentioned accessories. This handheld is shockingly customizable. The fact that I got Bluetooth support in here, and I was hooking up a keyboard and a mouse and using that even to search things up, to connect with other games, and to set custom controller layouts was a mind-blowing experience for me. I know base Steam over on PC already had this stuff, but to me it felt more natural and more needed here on the Steam Deck, where it truly is that moldable device, which is why it goes back to my frustrations about Xbox not being there with that native support, because it just has everything going for it. We see Dolphins bringing their emulator over to Steam officially, and that means it'll be on the Steam Deck. So naturally, people are just super excited about this thing, and I feel like Xbox is missing out. But a lot of things are going well in its direction. Valve has said that it's a number of years away from some type of revision or a re-release or new entry to the Steam Deck. I think that's great news. I like that they've been sticking with this thing, iterating, updating, and that they're also even thinking about long-term support. When I look at Valve and what they do with their game series, I sometimes worry if they just have so much money, they're like, what do we want to do? Like, this would be kind of fun. And they do this one-off Steam Deck, and then they just kind of go away for a while. I like that they're even considering and talking about a revision or a new style Steam Deck. I will say, some have wondered about the weight and the heft. It is something you get used to, but when you first pick it up, it's like handling your firstborn. You're like, okay, ooh, this thing, if I drop it, it's game over. So you want to make sure you're careful with that. And of course, when it comes to Valve, I hope they consider, if they can, a lighter model, but you do get used to it. You do get used to the analog sticks being right up top, parallel to each other. There is a degree of hand pain you'll go through, but you'll adjust to all of it. And it ends up working out really good. From that to the touchpad mechanics, Steam Deck is fantastic. I really don't regret my purchase at all. I've continued to emphasize that. I will just say that the Logitech G Cloud, to me, still has the leg up in the terms of cloud gaming. As soon as that native support comes to Steam Deck, we can test again and look at it, but I don't know if we'll be doing any more Steam Deck re-reviews, like I might call it like 1 year and 3 months later. I actually could probably. I could. Maybe I will. I don't know, but we'll see if I have more to say. I just thought this would be a good all-encompassing re-review of everything we've gone through in this last year and where we stand now with the Steam Deck, where this thing is great for modern games, for old games, for bringing new life to your favorite classics, to the support that Valve's been giving it. It really does feel like, to me, the missing component is Game Pass. And once it's there, it could go down in history as one of the best handhelds ever, truly. So I've had so much fun with it. And for those of you who have picked it up, let people know down below the fun you're having with it. Maybe encourage some other people to join the Steam Deck army. With that, ladies and gentlemen, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support all the content we do here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.